Hey guys, Phil Baumhart here. So recently bought a Brodbeck Ironworks 2x72 grinder. So what I'm going to do today is do a kind of an unboxing, and then we'll assemble it, take you along for the ride, and we'll see how difficult it is and kind of what needs to be done. So if you're in the market for a new grinder, you're shopping around and you've seen this one, hopefully this will kind of help fill in some of the blanks and help you make an informed decision on whether this is something that you want to buy. So basically the way that they do it, we've got 3 boxes. These two have got the grinder components and attachments, and then the other box has got the motor for the grinder itself in there. So I just left that one in the house. So they kind of came sporadically over a couple of days. So this looks like we've got all of our screws and washers. That's a real nice presentation. I like that. So I did buy the small grinding belt, the small slack belt attachment. Looks like there's some handles in here. And then this is the, I got the 10-inch contact wheel. All this stuff comes unpainted, so at some point I might go out and get some spray paint and spray this stuff down. Yeah, because as you can see, we got some rust and stuff on there, so it looks like it's been plasma cut out. So I guess I don't really know the downside of just leaving it unpainted. Just might rust up. So, which I mean, I'm kind of okay with leaving the finish as is, but that's kind of how they save on the cost. They don't paint it and then they let you assemble it. So it really does save on a lot of cost, which is cool. Which is one of the cost was one of the draws for me. But it is American made. This is a small business that fairly new, that was established in I believe it was 2018. So fairly new, small business. So I always like to support good companies, and these seem like good people. So there's our first box. Luckily I played with Legos as a kid, so this shouldn't be too difficult for me. And the instructions, they send an email form in one of the receipts, so I got that downloaded on my phone. So in this box, this has also got the, this should be the attachment arms. So I'm going to leave these for now kind of off to the side. Alright, cool, well, there it all is. I would imagine that, yeah, we got some surface rust and stuff on here. I imagine that if I wanted to, if you want to paint it, now would probably be the time to go through and just paint all these individual components before you assemble it. But I'm gonna take a look at the instructions and we'll see what's first. Let's see, we got main chassis assembly. So that's gonna be the these two brackets with the B logo on here. We should need 2 of these carriage bolts. 2 of these Teflon washers. Get our carriage bolts through there. And this piece is going to go on like that. No. There we go, like that. And the Teflon washers go in between because this is a moving component like that. And they say not to over tighten these because you can't tighten it enough so that this piece won't move. So something like that is what we're looking for. We got both pieces. So I already screwed up, didn't read the instructions carefully enough. You got to put 2 Teflon washers on this one. I thought it meant two Teflon washers as in 1 and 2. There's 2 on this one. I also screwed up which side this one goes on, so double check the instructions again. 2 Teflon washers on this one, 1 on this one, and then on the bottom of this, the bottom screw on this one, we're going to put this this knob. Another thing I screwed up. So far I'm off to a really good start as far as reading the instructions is concerned. And I think this is the next piece here. It looks like this piece is taking some requiring some persuasion. I am sure the company does not advocate this, but from looking at it all, this is the only piece that matches that description, so that's the piece that's going in here. Okay, so I'm gonna see if I can just take a file here and all right, there we go. That's what that. That's how that needs to be. Alright. Ta-da! Okay, so this piece has got to go in between here as well. Right in here. And I don't think I left enough room for that, so we gotta... Okay, and there is a nut and a screw. And if we zoom out, we can see we got the four screws here, and this whole assembly. So we have our internally threaded knob here that allows this to move. I might have to kind of disassemble this and re-put this together. I don't know if this is gonna interfere with it. It looks like it might, but that's where we're at right now. So I'll look at the instructions and we'll see what we got to do next. Okay, so we got this big base plate here. Okay, so I think these go like that. Alright, so awesome. So we got that, so I just need, I gotta get my Loctite here and figure out which bolt's gonna go into this. Make sure we get a healthy amount of this Loctite on here. That was probably too healthy. Okay, so the next piece is a big one that's going on top here. So I think this would interfere, so there's a little Torx nut here, so you loosen that off and then you can take this off. And so I want it so that put it down here, so that when it's locked it's down like that, and to unlock it it's up like that. I think that'll be it. So right there is locked. I'm not hitting this, so it's just a little spring in the Torx head. So we'll put that back on there. Alright, so it looks like this is the next piece. I need a couple more. The other two internally threaded knobs here. Okay, so for this plate here, looks like it's these kind of whitish silver ones, because they need to go into these internally. The these holes in the plate here are threaded. These are not. Okay, and it looks like the two threaded holes here line up with this. The two holes here. Oh, and in the slots all line up here as well. There we go, that's good. And so it looks like goes on next are these little pieces here. There's 4 of them. And those should slide in like that. Of the 4 bars, 3 of them are this length, and then the other one is a little bit shorter, as you can see. So that's got to go in the last one. That keeps these holes here from being blocked. And I didn't catch that in the actual instructions. It's probably in there, and I just missed it. Anyways, that's why. I can put this back on here. Okay, so I'm working on trying to get the tension arm together. The instructions are getting a little more screwy because we got tracking and tension assembly, and it just sort of shows it already all put together, and so that's a little weird. But I think I got this figured out with the wheel and the bolt. So the bolt goes in there. There's a nut that's gonna it should separate it from the arm, or the kind of the brace. But the truth is, I'm not sure if these are the right parts, but we'll get it together and we'll see if it works. So hey, that's why I make this video. So if you have this grinder and you get to this point, then maybe this will help you see what to do or what not to do. So I don't want to over tighten this on this bearing. So the diagram, at least here, shows we have nut, bolt. Yeah, be careful not to over tighten bearings. The wheel should spin freely, but there shall not be extra space between the bearings and nut or bolt head. So very specific there. Very tight tolerances. I got a little bit of space. Okay, that seems pretty good. So we got that. Looks like this goes onto here. And that does seem to spin nicely. And this knob goes into here. And this should give us I believe, the tension tracking, how you adjust that is that knob right there. This goes on here. Yeah, there's a bit of flash there. Let's see if I can get that on here. There we go. Yeah, it was just a bit of a burr. So now we're going to install the gas spring. It should be this guy. This has got little pieces here that need to go on. Alright, so I think it goes on this side. So again, with the instructions, we're just not getting smaller pictures, not as much detail. Okay, well at this stage, I've thought about it a bit, and I am going to try painting some of these components. I've got it half assembled, so I don't really want to spend a lot of time with the prep, and from what I've seen, they don't really have any instructions of how to paint it. But there are a lot of photos, on Instagram and all that, of guys who have painted them, and they kind of done like two-tone elements where the inside here is a different color than the rest of it. And I definitely don't want to go into that much detail, but I mean, painting your grinder is just all part of the fun, part of the creative process for you. And so since, you know, this is going to be on screen a lot on the YouTube channel, I do kind of want it to look good, you know what I mean? But I'm really more excited about just getting this thing up and running. So you know, I'm just sort of trying to wipe this stuff down with a bit of acetone just to get some of the you know, all the grease and gunk off of here before I paint it. So I thought about, you know, going over this with a wire wheel or steel wool. The truth is, I just don't want to go into that kind of depth. So we'll just stick with the acetone and see how that treats us. And you know, you'll get to see how durable this is as the videos go on, as the YouTube channel goes on. You'll get to see this, and you'll see, you know, how good a job this paint did at adhering or not. I just got some, you know, flat black Rust-Oleum. And just for fun here, I've got some Colonial Red left over from a Viking shield that I did for somebody. So we're just gonna add a little bit of color and get some red in here. Red and black always looks good. And so this is the tracking arm, and again, I kind of put everything on wrong anyways, had to take it off again, so I figured I'd just paint this as well. The arm, it says to Loctite this on, and I did that, and so that's why I got it taped up. But again, in the instructions, it doesn't really say anything about the paint, so it's kind of going to be up to your, you know, you're going to have to decide if you want to paint it, when you want to paint it, and it's going to kind of depend on your expertise at painting, which mine is, you know, none. You know, and depending on, you know, what sort of setup you got, you might be able to do a better job, or, you know, if you have a airbrush or, you know, something fancy like that, then obviously you'll kind of have a little bit different boat and different handle on it, but this is what I'm doing, so. Okay, so on this big old piece, I know the motor's going to attach here, and then in these, we're going to have the attachments are going to slide through here, so I'm really not too worried about that being painted, because there's going to be, you know, stuff sliding in and out, so. But I'm going to paint this, this big old face, because this is going to be kind of the side of the grinder. This will just be black. Okay, so on the side of this, where the connecting the towers for the chassis and this sliding component, there's a spot for these stubby little nuts. So I didn't notice that in the directions. It might be in there. So it didn't look like that was to be added yet. So up until this point, it's just kind of been friction fit on here, but just gonna. I want to just finger tighten those on right now, just that just keeps this from coming off. But this is how it's looking like with the paint and all that. So you can see where the paint's you know, rubbed off from the rotation, but that's, you know, that's to be expected. So that's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm glad I painted it. It looks better. All right, so I got a from their product website. From their website, I'm looking at a photo of the arm here. So I think I got it. I got it figured out. So the handle itself was on the wrong side. So I don't know how I quite managed that. But anyways, yeah. And then we'll do the. I think it's the spacer and 2 washers. And this will go on. And then another washer and another nut. It should be this end up on this side, and then it'll be the opposite side here on the machine. So, and then it'll be the washer in between this and the actual machine itself. Yeah, so it looks like it definitely looks like it lines up better. Okay, excellent. All right, next step is the motor install. It's going to go right here. There's some 1-inch screws with the split locking washer. Yeah, those should all go on this side here. Oops. You know, you don't have to buy a motor with the Brodbeck grinder. This is a 1.5 horsepower motor. My current motor on my Kalamazoo Industries is 0.5 horsepower, so I decided to upgrade my motor along with the grinder since it's all sort of meant for it. So this wheel's got to go on here, and from looking at the photos of completed grinders, this divot is going to go on the outside, a little cut out there, so that should all line up. And there's a there should be a set screw that goes in here too. There we go. Let's find that set screw. That's just a little set screw like that. Okay, so now we're going to try wiring this thing up. So I took the box off the front. So this might be something you might want to try to do before you mount it to the grinder itself, because this piece right here interferes with getting this nut off just a little bit, but you know, whatever, I made it work. So the way that they have this kind of you know, loosely wired is for the high voltage configuration. So all this wiring stuff is all very new to me, so I spent a day basically trying to figure out what I needed to do and reading up on all it. So you know, if chances are you might know a lot more than me about this, so forgive my ignorance, and if I get anything majorly wrong, you know, feel free to correct me down in the comments. You know, I always want to be accurate in my information. But so this particular grinder that I got with this is a WEG 1.5 horsepower, so it'll either draw 115 volts or 208 to 230 volts. So in my garage setup, you know, this is a residential setup, you know, the 115 volts is I believe all that I can draw. So that I'm gonna undo kind of this, and I'm gonna wire this for the low voltage, and they have the schematic on there, you know, T5, T8, T2 with the color coding, and I've got it written down for myself just which color is which number, so I'm gonna wire it up that way. And so they do include the power cord that you gotta wire in, and this kind of this nut, this cord protector that's gonna go on here. So I think I've got it figured out how all this needs to go, so I'll take you along for the ride and show you how it goes. Okay, so for this this nut here, I'm gonna take this off. This will go up through here like that. Get that back on there. There we go. Feed this up. And then we're gonna tighten this down. Okay, so this has got kind of a gasket on the inside, so as we tighten down this nut, it will tighten down around the cord. So again, this might have been something that was easier to do when it was off, but they don't actually give you the instructions for wiring this particular model in the instruction manual. They give the just the instructions for the 2 horsepower VFW. This is the 1-phase motor, so you know, for some people this is, you know, simple, nothing to it. but this kind of wiring is actually new to me. I've done a little bit of electrical stuff for film projects. I've rewired a couple of lights, made some dimmers and extension cords and all that, but honestly that's about it. So this is a lot of new information for me. So if you're in that same boat, you know, you're a knife maker, not a electrician, hopefully you'll find this helpful. So that seems snug. Obviously we don't want it too tight, but this is just to help seal this off and keep stuff from getting in there. So I think that's good. I'm happy with that. So now we can go ahead and do our wiring. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and strip off some of this this tubing here. A little room to work. Try just to cut this outer jacket and not get. I want to cut the cords beneath it. Okay, so we got that off. The green, of course, is the ground. That goes here. And they do give us some wire nuts and then this little fork connectors. So we'll put that on the ground there. And so these are our two lines. And so from what I've researched, it doesn't matter which lead you connect to these. But first thing I'm going to do is I gotta undo these. They got this wired together for a high voltage usage, which I do not want to do. I don't believe that I have the capacity for that. Okay, so first thing we're going to do up is line 1. So looking at the diagram on this, it's going to be T5, 1, and 3. So I got T5, T3, T1. Okay, that's it. Black, orange, and blue. So we're going to go ahead and get these together. Also have to connect them to this one here. So we're just going to grab the white line. Okay, so these 4 we got to have wired together. Okay, so that's on there. So now we'll strip our black line. And we'll get these together. Don't consider me an expert on this or any sort of qualified source of information. This is just, you're just witnessing what I'm doing. For good or ill. So one thing I did read though is that we don't want to have any exposed wiring there, and I think I'm gonna put a little electrical tape around this terminal right here because I did get a little too deep in some of these. I don't know, maybe see a little bit of exposed wire there, so I'm going to tape that off. We also need the ground connected. So, don't really know if this is necessary, but since I sort of nicked those wires a little bit down here, we're just going to tape that up. And then we'll attach the ground wire underneath this green screw. So, that should be enough. Get that under there. Okay, so that should be it. So the way I have this set up right now, we should just be able to plug it in and it'll turn on. so we'll see if that works. I was thinking about how to do a switch. At first I thought like I'd get a switch box and put it on there, but the wiring just seems a little bit easier this way. So if I wanted to do a switch, I could probably cut this cord in half. I'd have less wires to deal with. There we go. I thought I'd use this little guy. I guess it's time for the moment of truth. I'll get a power cord and we'll see if this turns on. Fantastic. Looks like it's spinning the right way too, so happy about that. Awesome. Alright, well, before we can grind anything, we got to assemble the arms. Alright, so we got two short ones and a long one, so we'll just I got all my components painted up. For some reason I went with the red. Okay, so we got one of the shorter arms. This piece here with the two carriage bolts. Now it does call for 2 Teflon washers for this, as well as the large contact wheel, which I've already used up all my Teflon washers. They only sent me 4, so I used 2 of them on the earlier on the chassis. So I don't know if it's an oversight on their part or if I used too many, but I mean, like that one called for 2, this calls for 2, and the wheel calls for 2. So either way you look at it, I'm at least down 2 Teflon washers. So I'll just have to go to the store and get some of those. But for now, I'm just gonna assemble this, and we'll see how that goes. So we got our little coaster, got our wheel here with a spacer and a nut. Okay, so I've bottomed out my socket. I don't have any deep sockets, so I put the nut in the vise and had to use my wrench for the rest of it. But moving right along, we've got our spacer on there, and all that's going to go onto this bit here. There we go. So with the tightening of this nut, this has got to be able to spin freely but without it being too loose. So I think I got that pretty good. Okay, and then we've got a wear plate to put on here. So I didn't bother painting this. Again, I think this is kind of a disposable item, and I mean, even if I painted it, it would just all wear off. So I'm just gonna, it's just got a couple little nuts. Just gonna put these on here finger tight for now, and I'll worry about you know, full tightening that in a little bit. But yeah, awesome. That looks good. The black and red isn't too shabby. It's not a perfect paint job, but you know, I almost didn't paint it at all. So, all right, moving right along. Okay, so I went to the store. I could only find nylon washers, but should do the same thing, just as far as letting this pivot without issue. Yeah, so that can swing pretty free. It is good and tight, but because of the nylon washers, it allows it to move. So that's why we have our second one here. This threaded handle will allow it to lock in place wherever you need it. So yeah, that'll work. Okay, so now for the big wheel, I got the 10-inch contact wheel, and this one kind of has its own self-contained package of nuts and bolts. And so this piece right here is the kind of the pivot point. And the nylon washers go in between this and the bar here. Goes on there. Yep. Yeah, so when that's locked, this doesn't move, and then we just loosen that, and now it's able to swing freely. So awesome, that works good. And it looks like we got the large carriage bolt here, and we got two nuts that are going to go on here. So again, we have this on here securely, but not overly much to pop the bearings. And so this is threaded here, so this wheel should go on. Alright, perfect. And the last attachment is there's a small wheel attachment. These pieces here are supposed to fit into here like that. And it even says in the instruction manual that you might have to do some filing on these to get them to fit. So, especially after painting, I think that this might be a little tricky, but I'll just see if I can tap them in place. Needs to be a little bit of a gap. I'll just have to snug that up just a smidge. So paint actually held up pretty good, but it's still looking pretty rough. So I'll probably shoot that with a little bit of a touch up there. Okay, so we got this repainted, and so we got a wheel here, rubber wheel with some bearings. Now it said to put 2 washers on here, but I was maxed out of washers that fit this, so I had to go buy some more. So this actually has got the nut and then the 2 washers, and that goes onto here. And so this right here is threaded, so this goes on here like that. Okay, and then we've got these 2 long screws with nuts. These just look like they're to keep the this piece together. So this one has got two washers here, and the way that this works is these will snap into here, I believe. And they give you 2 of these, 2 different sizes for this small contact wheel, so that's kind of neat. Yeah, it looks like you can tap those in, and this should spin. And if you want to change them out, probably just got to pry them out. Yeah. So, okay, that's a neat system. I like that. Very cool. One thing I have yet to do is Loctite these little screws that hold the work face onto here, so I'll do that right now. So this handle is, I've got to take this off so that I can back it out and get the clearance we need. Okay, cool. So I have to, so now that, you can finger tighten that and put this where we want it to be in the fully locked position. So let's have that about there. And we'll replace these. So to loosen that, yeah, now that will slide out, and if when I want to lock it, push down like that, So it looks like I got to do the same thing because this handle is interfering with the platen here. Not a big deal. Okay, cool. So we should be able to take this off. Excellent. That comes off. Now we can put our small wheel on there. Yes, that is very quick and easy to switch out. That is very nice. And then this handle, we can adjust the rotation, and then we can also rotate it over like this. The wheel's running this way. So, okay, well let's get a belt on here and see if we can figure out the tracking. So all the wheels are supposed to kind of line up. I did on this one back here. I took out that set screw and backed this away from the face here. I got one of the extra long Allen keys to fit in there and be able to get that in and out. So see how it tracks. All right, I guess we can tighten up these bolts here at the bottom of the at the base of the chassis here. So the instructions said to hold off on these. So since we got it all assembled, I guess we can tighten them up. Okay, so I got the grinder set up in the workshop here, and so one thing that I forgot about in the instructions, or I missed in the instructions I should say, was something very important, was how to size this up. And basically we're going to compress the handle here, pull this out as far as it can go, then we'll lock it off, then we'll release the handle. And now we have the right amount of tension on this belt here. I used a level and kind of got my wheels leveled, so these two and then these as well. I added a washer to this bolt here on the other side, and then I added a washer right here as well to get the tracking right, because the tracking definitely was not right at all. It was just flying off, and I wasn't and before I did this proper tensioning here, it was not grinding good at all. So just wanted to make sure I pointed that out to you guys. Alright, well I can definitely tell the difference from the old grinder. Really happy with this. I like this big work table too, that's great. It took some getting used to as far as figuring out how to tune it. Honestly, I'm still learning about this particular grinder, but still really happy with it. So I think it's going to go a long way as far as improving my work and allowing me to grow as a knife maker. So, okay, well here we are in February of 2021. When I filmed it, it was July of 2020 when I was assembling this, so I've had quite a bit of time to kind of get used to it and figure out all the ins and outs of how it works, and I've been happy with it. I've made a lot of good knives with it, and so you're going to be seeing all my build videos coming out of me using this, but I got a chance to use all the different attachments and fully utilize all of its functions and abilities. So, I've been happy with it, been happy with the purchase. So if you're thinking about getting one, I would definitely go for it. So if you made it this far in the video, hopefully it wasn't too painful to watch me kind of stumble through assembling it. A lot of it was error on my part, but to be honest, some of the instructions weren't as clear as I would have liked. So if you're trying to put your own together, maybe this video has kind of helped you along in that process. So, or this video has helped you make an informed purchase. So that's kind of my intention of publishing this in such a long format. We even got a few more new attachments which are pretty interesting, and they've made some different changes, especially to like the small wheel attachment since the one that I got. So they have gone through some different versions of the instruction manual since my version. I think it was like 3 or 4, to be honest. I don't exactly remember, and my PDF no longer works that they sent me with the original one, so I got to refer to the new one because I believe I deleted the old version off of my phone. Not a big deal. So they have updated or they have changed the instruction manual a little bit, which is good. But last I looked, they didn't have any wiring instructions for the particular motor that I have, so that was kind of the biggest hurdle for me. So hopefully my video section on wiring that motor together helps somebody out who's kind of in the same boat as me, where they're fairly new to this type of grinder and this type of system. And one little addendum I want to point out is on the small wheel attachment. Up until kind of recently, I've been using this wrong, so there are a couple of videos out there where I've got this kind of attached wrong with configured wrong with the belt. The belt is supposed to go underneath this one big rubber wheel and over this. Now I was kind of like hooking it over these other wheels here, and that's just wrong. So and to my defense, in the instruction manual, it doesn't tell you how to hook up the how to thread the belt per se. But if you look at their Instagram page, or in just sort of the product photos on the website when you're going to purchase this, it'll kind of show, it does show you how they have it threaded on there. So and because of that, I did kind of screw up my one wheel attachment. You can see where it's kind of separated, and it's kind of popped off a bit, and the bearing is kind of pushing out there. It still works, but I'll probably want to replace this at some point. So not a big deal. It's really my own fault, but just want to make sure that nobody else makes the same mistake that I did. So going forward, you'll see me using this properly, hopefully. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and maybe picked up a tidbit or two, and hopefully this will help you on your own knife making process. So as always, thank you so much for the support. Thank you for watching, and until next time, be more Viking.